What's going on, YouTube? I'm back, and today I'm bringing you guys another episode of my self-analyze series. Try and help you guys get inside my mind and help understand some of the decisions I make. Now, on the beginning of this map, with Soldier 76, first thing I like to do is always go left up the stairs and get this high ground. If you're wondering why, it's because once you get high ground, you have free range to shoot down around the choke, you have high ground to shoot from the bridge to my right, and you can flank around and put pressure on their backline from the left side. The same strategy also works with Tracer. I highly recommend going around the left side. The first thing you do, no matter what happens. Since Roadhog really isn't the solo flanker that it used to be, there really isn't much that can contest you up there, except for maybe a McCree waiting with his flashbang. But there's always going to be risks when you're playing on offense, so you can't worry too much about things that might kill you. You always got to play aggressive and always be in attack mode. And if you're not aggressive in attack mode, then you shouldn't be playing DPS. You have to take risks to get rewarded. Like right now, I'm making this flank. Two of my teammates, I believe, are dead right now. So I'm trying to juke at this Roadhog. Now, one thing I've always been good at in video games is juking, and it's because I usually do the most unpredictable thing, like doubling back and running right towards the person who's chasing me. Little unpredictable things like that really throw a wrench in a person's thought process, because they think you're going to continue to run, and then you throw a curveball at them just like that. I get back to the point, and I immediately ult, just because I could see the enemy team didn't know where I was coming from, so I just decided to pop my ultimate right there, and we ended up cleaning them up pretty easily. Now, like you guys have seen in my other previous coaching videos, I always like to get high ground. So even though I advanced the video right there, you guys know, I just took the stairs and went up here and contested high grounds. With Soldier 76's kit, it's super important to always remind yourself to do this. And even I will admit to you guys, I am guilty of it also. Sometimes I get a little bit greedy, I get a little bit lazy, maybe I don't respect the people I'm playing with enough. But I, too, get away from those fundamentals of getting high ground every single time. Now, you always got to put yourself in the other team's position. If you're playing against a Soldier 76 on the other team, what's the worst thing he could do against you? He's going to get on high ground and be annoying as hell. So, be that annoying player, put yourself in the other team's situation, and ask yourself, what would I want to do? What would I not want to have happen to me if there was a soldier on the other team, if that makes sense? I apologize for my poor sentence. Now, once you're on the high ground, it's really important that you always know where Winston, Genji, Diva, Widowmaker are. Heroes that can contest you, because if you can keep an eye on those heroes, the ones that can actually kill you, you're going to have free reign to just do whatever the hell you want to do. As you can see, I evaded the Winston there, and I was able to stay alive, and then use my ultimate to clean up the ulting Mercy. And one of Soldier 76's best uses right now is actually playing against Mercy, since his hit scan ultimate is so good at knocking her out of the sky when she's using her Valkyrie. Now, as you can see, once again, always contesting the high grounds, and they have a Widowmaker now and a Pharah now, and I will be honest with you guys, I do have a fantastic team, but it's always important, and I know a lot of you guys always like to get mad at me, or sometimes people will come into my Twitch chat and make fun of me for wasting so many of my biotic fields, but you can see right there when I put down my biotic field, I took damage right away. So a lot of you guys ask me why I spam my biotic field so much. I do it for two reasons. One, it's because I'm anticipating taking damage. And if I do start taking damage from like a Soldier 76, a McCree, a Pharah, anyone, a Tracer, I won't have to do the animation of putting down my biotic field, and then I won't be able to shoot during that time frame. And at this level of ELO, usually if you win a 1v1, you're walking away with 30, 40, 50 health maybe. Unless you play against Diego, you'll probably walk away with like 80. So I like to always, if I know I have a healer close by or a health pack close by, I will put down my healing field. Even if I'm not at risk of dying, it's always good just to take a little bit of damage so I can charge my tactical visor. Now, it's really important when you're defending on Dorado and you're holding this first choke point and both teams are exchanging poke damage, blah blah blah, pretty standard, that you don't die here. Now, unfortunately, I get taken down, but remember, I want to always remember to fall back, because you have so many buildings behind you and those rooms behind you in a big courtyard that you can always retreat into, and it's okay to give the enemy a little bit of space if you can heal up to full health, because most of the time if you wipe on this first point, you probably won't be able to contest it usually, and you'll probably end up losing anyway. So it's always important just to be patient and calm. You notice how the Diva dives me here, and I make sure I hit her with the Helix. That's one tip I can give you guys against Divas or Winstons. When they're on their way diving you, Winston's not going to put down his bubble until he lands with you, and Diva doesn't have very long of a defense matrix, so if you can just watch for when her defense matrix is down, it's important to hit her with the helix before she actually engages you, and then you'll be healing, you already have your biotic field down, and then you can usually take her one-on-one. If she hits all her rockets on you, though, you're pretty shit out of luck. Right here, I make a bad play. I shouldn't have peeked that Hanzo. What I should have done is just ran back to my team. I could have healed up to full, and I'll take myself in another one-on-one in a later date. I forced 1v1 there. I know he was weak, but it's an easy shot for a Hanzo to hit. I'm not even very good Hanzo, and I could hit that shot. Now, thankfully, we were able to actually retake the point after I got picked there earlier by the Hanzo. And that's pretty rare, to be honest with you guys, because usually you're going to lose it, and as you can see, we were 3 meters away from losing it, and luckily the Reaper on the other team used his ultimate, and he only killed one of us. So thank God that he made a tactical error there, and thank God that we were able to capitalize off of it and come back in and win that team fight. As you can see, you notice once Winston dives on me, I don't immediately start running away. I try to damage them a little bit first. Unfortunately, I got solo ulted into a corner there, and that's going to happen when you guys play against Winstons. It's going to happen all the time. Now, you see the enemy team right now on this section of the map. One thing you always want to do, no matter what, 10 out of 10 times. Well, maybe if it's not in overtime, but I would say 10 out of 10 times, honestly. You usually want to get the high grounds. But since I have my tactical visor, and since the team fight is going to happen immediately, you could tell by how the other team is playing. It's good to take an early fight on this point, because you can maybe contest this point maybe 2, maybe even 3 times if you contest it early enough. You see where the payload is parked right now. If you can get a team fight before it turns that corner, if you have a full team wipe, you'll have enough time to get another team fight in. A full team fight, regroup as 6, and make one last contest in the same section. This is the same for any Streets phase on any outdoor map that you guys play. It's mainly because the Streets phase is usually pretty long, and I think that's just how the game developers wanted it to be. Most Street phases involve 2 things, a long way to go, and high ground contesting the payload from up top. So, Streets phase is one of Soldier 76's best spots just because of the high ground alone. And even though you don't see me using it, since they're running a Bastion, and since the team fight's already engaged before I can even get to the points, you don't want to wait to take too much time getting the high ground. If 2 teams have already engaged each other, you don't really have time to take a big flank, because during the time you're flanking, your team might not have the damage they need in the middle of the team fight. So even if you get high ground, the battle might be lost before you even get up there. So always keep in mind, if you anticipate the team fight happening immediately, don't go on a crazy long flank to try and get the high ground. Even though it is fundamentally correct, it's not always correct to follow fundamentals. Now, what you guys heard me say earlier about contesting the payload before it got around that corner because you could get another team fight, and if you remember, I got sniped by the Widow, but the payload was stopped because we took that early team fight, so we were able to actually get 2, and I actually think we got 3 contests during that Street phase, and we ended up losing, but that's fine because it's a long game, and you're not going to lose it over one Streets phase. So it's important to always just remain untilted, and from what I've seen so far, I see no reason to switch off of Soldier 76. Even though they do keep taking the points, as you guys can tell from my POV, I think I'm doing my job pretty well, putting a lot of pressure on them, and trying to put a lot of pressure on their D.Va and their Winston. If you guys have noticed, you probably noticed that their D.Va and their Winston aren't very strong tank players, and their DPS player Diego on the other team isn't doing very well either. Now, this is more of a risky play, and as you can see, I realized halfway through, like, why am I doing this? Right now, I'm just trying to get some easy ultimate charge, just trying to peek, maybe I can hit a helix on an unsuspecting hero that's coming out of spawn looking at their phone or something. But as you can see, I don't wait too long. In fact, I just run right back up here to high ground, just to be safe and just use Soldier 76 to his best abilities. Remember, on defense, you don't really have to take any risks. But you can see I'm at 52% ultimate, and from the poking that I attempted to do just a few seconds ago, I maybe could have been at 70% now if I would have poked correctly. Maybe I'm at 75% now. See, now I'm pushing out here not to BM or anything, but just to put enough pressure on them to make them be discouraged and to build my own ultimate. Pushing out here is generally pretty safe, especially if you take out the Widowmaker like I just did, because if you look at their composition now, there really isn't much that can contest me other than the D.Va. I mean, sure, she's going to dive me, but she's not going to kill me there ever. She just doesn't do enough burst damage. So you know, a lot of players play a lot like really defensive, like they're afraid to die. But the most important thing, you have to be aggressive and defensive at the same time. There really is no perfect balance. There's no perfect way to go about it. It's just in the heat of the moment, you have to make these decisions, when to push and when to pull back. And right there, we pushed up really far, and we ended up wiping, actually. So we probably should have retreated a little bit more, because we had so much time to give up, and this Tracer ends up making a really nice play on me and taking me out there. There's not much I can do about it there. I even saved my Helix for the Tracer, and it just ended up missing her somehow. I do get the res, however, and I do get the Tracer weak, and she still has another cooldown. It seems like she's only picking on me. As you can see, she really is only picking on me. Look at the focus she's putting on me. I end up picking up this skill here, but unfortunately my team ends up C9ing, and we end up not losing yet, but giving up a point that we probably shouldn't have lost. So here we are, back to defense, back to the original spot on high ground. And I heard the Pharah earlier, so that's who I want to focus right out of the gate, right? The Pharah. There's really no point of me shooting at that Orisa shield or the Bastion shield, or I mean the Reinhardt shield at this point. I'm not going to do much, and as you can see, I want to play. I'm observing what this Pharah is doing, because she's really the only person that can kill me at this point. Now, my teammate tells me to retreat back to the choke point, but I actually was honestly a bit hesitant, because if I fall back to the choke point right there, I'm just going to have two shields in front of me, and I won't be able to do anything effective. So I decided to listen to my instincts and push up to use this flank and to completely mitigate the Reinhardt shield and the Orisa shield just using my positioning. Now, a lot of your teammates might say, whoa, soldier, be careful, blah, 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 and if I get picked here, they might even blame me for throwing. But it's completely necessary if you're going to win a game in Overwatch. You know, it's always risk versus reward, and if you don't take risks, you're going to hit a barrier, and your mechanical skill is and your ultimate management and whatnot, and composition management and counters is only going to take you so far. Eventually, you're going to have to think on your feet, and you're going to have to be aggressive and make the other team uncomfortable. Now, I don't understand why we're losing this. We lost that first point. I thought that I did a good job, but like I said, obviously something isn't working out, and I do hit that Helix on that Pharah right there. It's a little bit disappointing because she booted me back. So right here, what I'm doing is I know my team is on the high ground, and I know we're going to make a good contest here. And since we got that easy pick, and I see the Orisa shield is already cracked, I hit it with the Helix just to make it that little bit extra weak, and then I pop my tactical visor just to get some extra damage in there right now. And as you can see, they were focusing me a second ago, and the Orisa shield's back up, and man, this hero needs a nerf so badly. Mei can be pretty good against this, as you guys can see. If they ever run a Bastion Reinhardt into you, the Mei ultimate is really good for cleaning it up and stopping it from happening. Just because of her ultimate forces the Orisa and the Bastion to move, and if they separate, they're pretty much screwed, and if they stay, they're going to get frozen. So if they do run the cheesy offense, Bastion, Orisa comp into you on offense, maybe go for the Mei, assuming you can get ultimate charge. But like I said, same thing on offense. What do? I go up here and contest the high ground, and I flank down bottom left. Now sometimes I don't even have to get kills right here. All I really have to do is just put pressure on them to create space for my front line. Now this Tracer gets really lucky right here because I have to reload. But she runs out of blinks, and I end up taking her out, getting an easy kill on her there. So, one thing, I know I sound like a broken record. First thing I do is I think ahead. Where is the next team fight going to happen? It's going to happen probably over in the church on the high ground, so I decide, think ahead, move up here now, and try to secure high ground right now. And I get this angle and this opportunity to get these picks. I would say 7 out of 10 times I use this flank after capturing the first point. It seems like nobody is ever expecting it, and if you can save your Helix and land a Helix on a squishy and use careful burst damage, you can easily get a kill here. And just a tip for you guys, if you're the McCree right here, you have to fight me. You have to, because I'm Soldier 76 and I'm on high ground, and you know I'm going to have my ultimate soon. You really don't have much of a choice there except to fight me if you're McCree. It might be risky, but in that situation, if you're not going to get me off high ground, then why are you even there? See, that McCree made the right play. He was in the right spot, but he just didn't have the self-confidence to follow through with the own play that he was trying to make. It's like his natural instincts told him where to go, but then his self-confidence wasn't strong enough to help him follow through with it. He should have rolled towards me, tried to stun me, or at least just waited in the church and waited for me to to do something. If you're going to play DPS and not try to kill the other team's DPS, it sounds a little harsh, but don't play DPS. You need to have that alpha DPS mindset, like you're the best DPS in the game. And if you don't feel like you're the best DPS in the match, you probably shouldn't be playing DPS. Now, I'm not saying if you say you're the best DPS, you're going to be right, because that's not true. It's all about having self-confidence in yourself, you know? You have to be able to trust yourself and trust your abilities to be able to take the other DPS one-on-one, because you're going to get a lot of isolated matchups from time to time. Your teammates can only help you do so much, and in Overwatch, you guys probably already know how important it is to carry your teammates. Sometimes you have no other choice if you want to gain ELO. So thank you so much for watching.